So how's it going, boss buddies? Now we're at the end of March, so it's time for me to do my end of the month roundup as the top 5 fragrances that I tried in March. So I'm going to be back in just a second with those top 5. So welcome back, you're watching the Luxury Fragrance Boss channel. My name's Scott, of course I'm the Luxury Fragrance Boss. Now, as I said, I can't believe we're already 3 months into the year. It's already the end of March, so it's time for me to do my roundup of the top 5 fragrances that I tried in March. As usual, I tried some fantastic fragrances, so it was very hard for me to narrow it down, but I've done just that. So just before we get started with my top 5, I want to give a quick mention to one that I got sent a couple of days ago. Look out for the review of this one because I did spray it on my wrist and it smells absolutely phenomenal. So that one is from the Addictive Arts collection from Clive Christian. It's called Hedonistic. So that review will be coming very, very soon. I'm going to wear it in the next few days, so I'll be giving a full review very, very soon. So let's crack on with our top 5. Now, these are going to be in no particular order except for my number 1, really. There is one outstanding favourite that I did have through March. But yeah, the rest of the 4 could sort of fall into sort of any number really in the top 5. But we're going to start off with Holy Water from Heretic Parfums. This was a new house for me, and I was quite impressed with this one, I mean, straight away. One thing I did notice is this is a nice alternative if you're looking for something a little bit different. Something similar to Cedar Bois from Mancera, but with a couple of sort of little differences in ingredients, maybe in the top notes, maybe a little bit more bitter, I would say, in the citrusy notes in the top. But yes, I mean, it is a wonderful smelling fragrance. Unfortunately, because I had it in a dabber as well, it's hard for me to sort of really say as to the true strength of this one, because it isn't, I mean, I tried Cedar Bois out of a dabber as well, and that was pretty strong. But this one, not quite as strong, but it's a very, very pleasant fragrance. The longevity was there. Projection, even out of a dabber, just sort of dabbing it on my skin, you were looking about sort of, I'd say a couple of feet. It's one that I could definitely smell throughout the day and well into the evening after my gym workout. Let's go over the notes of this one quickly. In the top notes, you've got Kaffir, lime, coriander, and cedar. In the heart notes, you've got Champaca, flower, absolute. And in the base notes, you've got Vetiver, vanilla, absolute, Tonka bean, patchouli, and sandalwood. So a nice sort of, nice woody, sort of citrusy, and that, I think that lime just gives it a tiny little bitterness and like a little freshness that makes it just a tiny bit unique compared to like the Cedar Bois, and obviously this is a lesser known fragrance. But yeah, fantastic fragrance to kick off for my top 5 in March. So let's move on. What shall I go with next? I'm going to go to the house of Gallivant. Bear with me just a second while I grab the notes for this one. So yeah, for Gallivant, I tried Brooklyn over the last month. I think I wore this one last week actually, but this one's again a really, really nice fragrance. The one that I would compare this most to, or I'd say it's most like that I've smelled so far, would have to be Chinatown by Bond Number 9. The reason I say that is because it's sort of warm spiciness to it. I mean, it is a really, really nice sort of spicy, I'd say it's sort of borderline sort of savoury gourmand, if you can say that sort of thing. It's not like a sweet sort of smelling or like foodie fragrance, but it's got kind of a smell of like an ethnic food when you're walking through streets. And maybe I should say the smell of food in like an ethnic area as you're walking through streets. I wouldn't say so it's exactly the same as Chinatown, but it does have those certain spices and stuff like that, and I'd say it's a bit more pleasant than Chinatown. Definitely worth one checking out. So that's Brooklyn from Gallivant. Just go over the notes of this one as well. Bergamot, lemon juice, orange juice, incense, cardamom, and ozonic notes are the top. In the heart notes, you've got Magnolia and Orris root, and then in the base notes, you've got whitewoods, benzoin, amber, and musk. And as I said, they're beautifully blended and make up a really sort of nice, sort of warmer, spicy fragrance. It's got a little bit of freshness as well. There's a couple of sort of fresher notes in there that make it probably perfect for like a spring or summer evening, I'd say, more than sort of during the day. But yeah, I mean, great one for this time of year. So definitely worth checking out Gallivant Brooklyn. So for my 3rd fragrance of March, I'm going to go to one of my favourite houses, well, more recently, one of my favourite houses, which of course is Clive Christian. I'm going to the Noble collection, and the one that I tried this month, well, out of the few that I tried this month, the best one I really found was Papyrus. If you're looking for something that's incredibly refreshing, really, really fresh, but also with a sort of hint of relaxation in it as well. This is definitely going to be one to go for. This is one of the freshest and sort of, definitely sort of one of the cleaner scents I've smelled. But it's not that sort of soapy clean. It's just a really sort of nice, it's hard for me to say really. It's more like a spa clean smelling fragrance rather than sort of soapy clean. Going over the notes of this one, you got top notes of bergamot, galbanum and pink pepper. In the heart notes you've got lavender, which I said it's gives it like a hint of relaxation about it. It really, I mean, this one really is one that I did enjoy. Fantastic projection and longevity again. In the heart notes, as I said, you've got lavender and you also got geranium, basil and ginger. In the base notes, you've got papyrus, cedarwood, tonka, vetiver and musk. So again, with that vetiver in it, that's what gives it that sort of nice clean smell. But yeah, I mean, you've got some wonderful notes in there as well with the geranium and like I said, with the lavender. Just a wonderful sort of clean smelling, but sort of a nice relaxation fragrance. Absolutely perfect and very refreshing, so perfect for the spring and summertime. So that's in number 3. We've got Papyrus from Clive Christian. Now going into my second place fragrance, let me grab the base notes for this one. This is one that I've actually become pretty addicted to when I smell it. I wasn't quite sure what to think of this one when I first smelled it, because it has got an unusual smell to begin with, but as it settles down, it becomes something incredibly beautiful and one that I just want to keep smelling all the time. This one's from the house of Bruno Fazzolari, and the one I'm talking about is Lampblack. I mean, this one's quite hard to describe. It's got some unusual notes in there. It's got some, I think what makes this fragrance really sort of a little bit, I'd say, unsettling in the beginning, because it's quite bitter, and it's got bitter grapefruit that sits in the top notes. However, as that sort of fades away, this turns into something absolutely beautiful. I'd say it's definitely sort of more of a smoky, woody, but kind of clean fragrance. Absolutely perfect for sort of springtime. But going over the notes of this one as well. So in the top notes, you've got sweet orange and bitter grapefruit. As I said, that little bitterness, as that dies down, this one gets very, very, very nice. In the heart notes, you've got black pepper, and in the base notes, you've got Nagarmotha, Benzoin, Vetiver, and shadow. I'm not sure exactly what shadow is supposed to smell like. I mean, the inspiration of this one, it's supposed to smell like, I believe, like the old, I don't know if it's a paraffin lamp. Off the top of my head, I can't quite remember. But yeah, like the old sort of, some kind of old lantern or something like that, obviously it gets left, it leaves like the soot and stuff like that behind it. So I mean, that's the inspiration, I believe, of what this one's supposed to smell like, or maybe even the smell of the burning of those lamps at the time. But yeah, it's a very, very beautiful fragrance. If you're looking for something smoky but sort of nice, clean and woody, this one's a really beautiful fragrance. So in number 2, we've got Bruno Fazzolari's Lampblack. So my number 1 then, as I said, I do have one that stands out head and shoulders above the rest. It's from one of the houses that I've been exploring over the last couple of months, that sent me a whole bunch of their fragrances to try. The house, of course, is Fragrance de Bois, and the one that I'm talking about, which I only found out last week, somebody mentioned to me on YouTube as well, asked if I tried this one, and I actually tried it a few days later. The fragrance I'm talking about, of course, is Oud Violet Intense. If you haven't seen my full review of that one, definitely check that out. I've reviewed this one, I think, sometime in the last week. So definitely check that out, because this is an insanely beautiful fragrance. This one's sort of really heavy on the nutmeg fragrance, on the nutmeg scent in this one, but it's kind of got like a, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's got like a fizziness to it. So sometimes it kind of goes, I'd say, a little bit Coca-Cola-y. It's not Coca-Cola smell, but it's something similar to that. It reminds me of like a soft drink or something like that. But yeah, you'll notice when this one does settle down on your wrist, once this one does settle down, it turns incredibly beautiful. But you will notice what I mean when I say it's got a slight sort of fizziness or a soda-like smell to it. But yeah, I mean, it's nutmeg through and through, but you got some sweet little notes that pop in and out. One thing I will say about this one though is something that I've experienced with a couple of the Fragrance de Bois fragrances, is that they tend to have a little bit of a sour opening, which settles down, and then the fragrance just goes absolutely insanely beautiful. One thing I noticed with Syrah Oud, it's got really strong rose to open with. which lasts about sort of 30-40 minutes, but then it settles down into something that's just so smooth and incredible. It's the same with this one. Now, I'm not quite sure what the sour note is in the top of this one, but as it dies down after that sort of first, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes, but even during that sour sort of opening or that beginning, you can still smell that there's something incredible sitting right there behind it, and then it doesn't take long for it to come out. And like I say, it's really a nutmeg fragrance, but it's absolutely insanely beautiful. It's not quite as strong as the rest of them. Well, I didn't find it as strong as the rest of them myself, but it clearly was, because I got home in the evening after a night at the gym and after a full day at work, and my wife said that she really loved the fragrance I was wearing that day, and she was sitting about 2 or 3 feet away from me and she could still smell it pretty strongly. For me, just throughout the day though, I didn't notice it was like overly powerful. Every time I'd move or something like that, I'd catch a whiff of it, but yeah, it's not the strongest one I didn't find on me. It's not the strongest one out of their lineup, but definitely I think the most beautiful. It's been my favorite one that I've tried from the house so far. So I mean, that's my roundup for March. I hope you enjoyed those 5 fragrances. Let me know if you tried any of them. I know there's a few people after I did my review of Oud Violet Intense that want to try that one, and I'd say definitely do. Don't skip past like some of the lesser known ones or the lesser talked about ones, because that one is an absolute stunner. So as I said, yeah, please let me know about those in the comments below. As usual, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Besides that, follow me on Instagram as well. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. That we can keep up to date with my scent of the day, any destruction the kittens are doing to the house, and anything else that I've got going on as well. Hit that notification bell, that way you'll be the first to know anytime I release a new video. Besides that, stay smelling fantastic. Look forward to seeing you very soon in my next video, and thank you so much for watching.